We are live. Welcome to Let's Cross Together podcast with yours truly, the mental health coach, Fernando Cottrell. We are dedicated, as you know, to the ministry of mental health. And I'm excited today to have our guest. She is a awesome woman and professional coach, health and wellness coach. And actually, this is our second time having Esther Hernandez on the podcast. We had her on before when we were labeling the podcast as 3 points. Still the same focus of mental health, the ministry of mental health. But today we since changed the name to Let's Cross Together because we want to provide strategies and solutions to help all of us grow in the area of mental health and professional growth, career wise, and just a holistic approach and solutions to mental health. So I want to thank you, Ms. Hernandez, for being here once again. I'm going to give you an opportunity to share who you are, and we're just going to kind of go into it. One of the things that I want to say to everyone I love about Ms. Hernandez is that she's passionate, really passionate about health and wellness, and she has a unique approach to it. And I thought it's worth sharing again, bringing her on. I must say she is a grad student at Liberty University, pursuing your master's, correct, in human services counseling with an emphasis on cognitive what is it, health and wellness?
Yeah.
Health and wellness. So she's going to come and share a little bit about herself, and we're just kind of going to go in and it's unrehearsed. And again, I want to thank you for being here, and just introduce yourself, and we're going to just engage, and we're going to go from there.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. My name is Esther Hernandez. I am currently, like Mr. Cottrell said, finishing up my master's in counseling with a focus on health and wellness. And yeah, let's dive in. Let's talk about it.
Okay. Now, I know that you and I have numerous or several conversations about health and wellness, and I like your approach and the way you're thinking about it. Sometimes when people think health and wellness, they kind of think of exercise and working out and running and maybe having diets, and which is part of it. It's part of it, but I think it's a bigger picture on health and wellness that sometimes we miss. And you really sparked my interest as you were sharing with me your approach and your perspective on it. I think it could really be a blessing to people at large. So just talk about a little bit what made you get into health and wellness. That's that whole concept of health and wellness. Like what does that mean to you?
So I think it's good for me to start with a little bit from my background. Growing up, I grew up with a single parent in my household. I saw my mom, I saw my entire family from my mom's side very ill, very sick. My grandparents were sick. My mother was sick. My mother was sick. My family members around us was sick. So I always saw with them the effect of not taking care of yourself in every aspect, in the mental health, and maybe drug and alcohol abuse, and maybe dieting or exercising. So as I was growing up, I would always tell myself, you know what, I don't want to be unhealthy like that. I want to make sure I take care of myself. So as I'm growing up, I'm trying to get in all these sports in school. I'm trying to, maybe not so much with the diet, but I'm trying to make sure that I'm not eating so much junk food. So it was like a love-hate relationship with the junk food and the healthy eating. You know, you're a kid, but at the same time, you're still seeing how other people are being affected by all this. So for the first few years, that's how it was for me. Growing up, you're getting younger, you're getting into college, and that's when I started getting into more serious about the fitness, because I'm still working out, I'm still, walking, I'm still in these sports teams, but I'm trying to get more into shape, pretty much, just to call it like that. So at that point, I think I start taking health and wellness more serious, and I'm starting to get into diets, and I'm starting to get into you have to make sure you're working out this amount of time. You have to make sure you're doing these cardios like this. and and for a long time, trying to workouts also for a long time, I was trying to find a balance between making sure I wasn't unhealthy like the family members that I saw growing up,
Mhm.
at the same time, not falling into a super diet culture where I'm
Right.
also not taking care of myself because all I'm thinking about is eating healthy and working out.
Yeah.
So you and people who've tried diets and people who've tried working out and all of this, they know that you're following what your trainer is telling you. You're following the fad diets. You're following whatever you're seeing online, and don't get me wrong, you could get some good things out of that. Trainers do have their experience. They do have their ability. Um, but you have to think as health and wellness as a whole. It's not just the working out. And that's when I started getting into my undergrad is in social work. So that's when I started getting into, what makes people make the choices that they make. What makes people
Mhm.
get to where they're at unhealthy, maybe getting into drugs and alcohol. That's an unhealthy habit. What makes people fall into depression? What's the cause for their depression? That's something that can make you unhealthy. You're not taking care of yourself because you have all these mental health issues. And I was trying to find how I can take care of all those things for myself.
Mm.
And when I get into my grad program, I've been working with at-risk youth for the past almost going on 9 years. And I was thinking to myself, well, you've been in this health and wellness path for a long time. You've been trying to figure out how to keep yourself healthy, how to keep those around you healthy, because you've seen how greatly it can affect the people that you love. What do you think about going into college for something related to that? And I'm on that path. I have the experience. Like I said, I've been doing it for a while. So now I want to get into it more on a professional level. I want to be able to provide professional experience to my people or to my clients, and also be able to share my experience with them because there's so much we can talk about. Um, that can be helpful to people in the health and wellness field that I think doing so with the professional level, just to say it like that, um, can be a little bit more helpful to other people.
Yeah. So what I like about your approach is that health and wellness is not just for a certain few. We can really take advantage and kind of chart our own course. And I think sometimes when we think of health and wellness, we think of a certain few, like, or she's already thin, or he's
Hmm.
already this, or genetically he's like this, or, I like what you said. You really started just really observing what was around you. And
Hmm.
from that, it's like, you know what, I can change. I can do something to alter my mindset. And I think that goes into the next point, because I know you and I talk. A lot of times we think we have to be slaves to what we're viewing. Like our culture
Hmm.
is a certain way. We come from this culture, we kind of like these foods, and we come from that culture. It's kind of like uh, a tradition to be a certain way. But if it's an unhealthy tradition that's causing a lot of, maybe, because health and wellness has a lot to do with, how you, mental health, foods we eat, and certain, affects our mind. So I like how I guess I want you to kind of touch on that a little bit, because I was very sparked by what you said. Culturally, sometimes we follow our cultural pattern of health and wellness, and that takes a lot, I guess, to break free from that, to break free from traditions, to say, you know what, I love these things, but it's really impacting me in a negative way. So I need to figure something out here. So I want you to kind of just talk about that a little bit, because I know there's people that are probably like, this is the way grandma did it. This is how we did it. So can we maintain traditions and health and wellness, and in a balanced manner?
Yeah. So I think there's two things on that. One, we want to make sure that we still honor our cultures and our traditions. This is what we grew up with. This is what we know. This is what, food is what brings people together. So it's not fair for me to say, well, now you can't eat this type of food because that's not healthy for you. We have to honor where people come from, what they grew up with. In addition to that, maybe you grew up eating, I don't know, let's say fried foods, for example. And that was just like, for dinner, mom would just whip up a quick, I don't know, some fries and some fried chicken or something like that. That's what you grew up eating. That's fine. But now we know that like maybe that's not the healthiest. So add more vegetables to it, or maybe add, take out do it only once a week, or maybe less amount of times, because we also want to make sure that we understand that what you're putting in your body is to make you feel better. And certain foods are going to make you feel sluggish, and certain foods are going to kind of make you feel a little bit, less active. And we need to be at 100% to function, because all levels of our body are functioning. Your mental health is not going to be affected if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling lazy because you ate a whole bunch of chips the day before or in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So we have to make sure that we find a balance between that, but we're still honoring what we grew up with, because it's so important. I think for me, that was a very big cultural shock when I came to the United States. I grew up in Puerto Rico, which I mentioned last time, and I'm raised around with my grandparents. So our culture was, we eat a lot of rice and beans, we eat a lot of root vegetables with a side of meat, we eat a lot of plantains, avocados, foods like that. And when I'm coming here, I'm not finding those foods. So I'm trying to put into the cultural over here, like what is typical here, what is easier to eat over here. So I'm trying to find that balance of like honoring my culture, what I know, what I typically eat, and finding a balance of not overeating the food that I find here because it's new or it's different. So that goes into learning how to balance both of them, because you need to understand that not always what you ate in the past is the best option for you, because if we're eating rice every day, maybe your tummies are going to feel a little bit upset, and maybe that might not be the best. So let's add something that you took from the culture here. So now I see that maybe serving of kale might fit me a little bit better than eating rice every day. Just kind of combine what you see around you with what you grew up, and maybe kind of bring them together and have a healthier habit or have a healthier meal.
Now that could be pretty tough, man, because you got a 12-piece over here with all the trimmings, then over here you have okay stuff.
Yeah.
So just because I think when we talk about, I like what you just said, when we talk about the food piece or health and wellness, why do people associate it just all the time with just denying themselves something they like? I think the bigger picture I don't think we talk about the bigger picture as opposed to the picture of how you look or appearance.
Yeah.
Because how sometimes I hear people start posting their pictures or posting their little sayings. Almost time for winter, almost time for summer. I gotta get my summer body. So I think more education needs to be put on a bigger picture of this. And I think what you're doing and going towards is trying to get that bigger picture that you can have all of those things, but it just won't be seasonal. It just won't be, because you know what I'm saying? Like, I think
it should be an all year round thing, not just for the season.
So, and I know you're developing something along those lines. I think the educational piece that's missing is, how can I still have what I like? How to transition this into a lifestyle that is fun, is impactful. You're not miserable and frustrated, because I think when I see people talk about health and wellness, it's so strict that it's no fun, and you become grumpy and agitated.
You're restricting your body.
So how does So a bigger picture of that is also, to be included, is mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Mental health, because if you overeat, I don't know about you, when you go to, like, when I do something about go in the refrigerator about certain time, I eat and I feel guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And now I got to carry that guilt over. Then I feel guilty. Then you realize, what's the use? Mm-hmm. So it has to be a bigger picture than just not getting a cupcake at 12, at midnight. Because with a healthy mindset, you still can have that, because it's not your lifestyle. It's just within your lifestyle. It's like
Yeah.
it's not the lifestyle. It's just, and I think that's thinking like that to me seemed like it could be a better way of not always feeling like weird when you just have something extra.
Yeah. I think on that point, there's a few things. First off, it's important for people to know that all bodies matter, that you're important, your body is functioning, your body is taking you where it needs to go, your body is taking you through your life. So it's important to respect the body, first off. A way of honoring and respecting your body can be to eat foods that make you feel good. And we're not talking about like stop eating the cupcakes or stop eating the pizza or stop eating the fried foods. We're talking about adding things that make you feel good. Because I know that if you eat a whole pizza at night, it's not because you feel good. The next day you feel guilty, but it's mostly because you feel bad. Your tummy feels bad, you feel bloated,
Okay.
you really can't move.
Okay. I got you.
So we correlate it with guilt because
Okay.
we're
Okay.
told by the society like, oh, you shouldn't have eaten that. Carbs are bad. You're gonna get fat. Whatever the case is. When the reality is like you feel guilty because that's what you hear from diet culture. But listen to your body. Your body's telling you, I didn't feel good. That makes my
Okay.
stomach hurt.
That's
And
good. That's a good point.
so that's what we need to start looking for, those cues that tell you how does this meal make me feel. And that's when I go back to the culture thing. Like I know that when I go back to Puerto Rico and I have my food from my home, I am the happiest. I found my mofongo, I found my rice and beans with the seasonings that they use back home, and I'm having the best time of my life. And I'm honoring what I like to eat, but I'm also making sure that for the rest of the time that I'm out, I'm not stuffing myself with other foods just because I didn't have it. I also want to bring that it's important for us to not restrict ourselves from foods. Um, Cupcakes are not always going to be great for you because, like I said, they might make you feel bad, or maybe the pizza's not going to make you feel good. But it's not that you can't have it because if I had a healthy meal, I just ate, let's say, just for the sake of it, a salad. I had a very delicious salad, had all the protein I needed. I'm good. And an hour later, you're thinking, you know what? I could go for a little piece of chocolate, or I could go for a little pizza, or I'm sorry, a cupcake, or something sweet because I just had a big meal. It's important for you to tell yourself to allow yourself, I'm sorry, to have that cupcake or have that piece of chocolate because you are honoring what your body is telling you. And if you have that piece of chocolate, you're going to be fine. If you say no, then an hour passes, 2 hour passes. You can't stop thinking about the chocolate or the cupcake. You still want it, you still want it, you still want it. And then at 12 o'clock at night, there you go. You ate 2 pieces of chocolate, you ate 5 cupcakes, you ate everything you found because you started binging because now your tummy is like, now it's a mental thing. I told myself I couldn't have this, but eventually I really did want it. And now I'm just stuffing myself with everything I found because I didn't eat it when I needed it or when my body told me. So I think it's important for us to just learn to honor and listen to our body. What is your body telling you when you eat a certain type of meal? And
I
that
like
is also going to take you to honoring your culture, to honoring your culture and your tradition, and to honoring yourself now. Because also we have to think when we were 15, 20 years old, like we were having pizza all the time and we were feeling great. Now as an adult, like I have one slice of pizza and my stomach is already just telling me like, no, like let's not do that again. So it's just a matter of honoring how you're feeling and thinking about how a certain meal or a certain food that you're consuming is making your body feel. And that way, we can make it into a lifestyle. We can make it into like throughout the whole year, I'm comfortable with what I'm eating because I'm listening to what my body is telling me. I'm not just eating everything that I see because I restricted myself or I'm not limiting myself and only having salad and chicken so I can look good for the summer. All throughout the year, you ate what you needed or you ate what you felt. And we have to also think about, and this goes back to a while back. I had a trainer who recommended a diet, and the diet was literally just chicken and green beans. I wasn't allowed to eat absolutely nothing else. And in my mind, I was thinking, growing up, being having access to the meals that I wanted, I was thinking to myself, like, why can't I have a piece of kiwi? Why can't I have a piece of watermelon? Why can't I have a small bowl of rice? Why can't I have beans? All these other meals that I enjoyed. Because we're being taught that you have to restrict yourself. That's not good. Stop eating it. Don't do it. That's not going to make you feel good. When in reality, it's more about like how does that make your body feel?
Yeah.
And everybody's going to be different. Everybody's going to have a different reaction to the meals that they're eating or to the food that they're eating or they're consuming.
You know what? That's really profound, I think. So honor, because honor and respect. I don't think our body has a life of its own. So we have our mind, then we have our body that talks, and we kind of ignore that the history of how this makes us feel. But it's telling you this doesn't agree with our bodies, and it's telling us, and then our mind agrees with it. It like, you know what? But for some reason, we just can't put it into a lifestyle, or just altering sometimes. And I think I like what you said, respect. Like our body says, hey, our body and minds remember. Hey, remember last time how you felt? Remember last time. So that's the whole thing of health and wellness. Health and wellness is not that. It's not always about. Because I want to get rid of that stigma that it means diet. It means respecting the last. It's almost like a relationship. Like if you had a heartbreak with someone and you think about them, you know what comes to mind. Your guard goes up. You're cautious if you see them. You're kind of like, I don't know. They kind of get over. You know. So it's the same thing with our food. Our food has had bad relationships.
Yep.
Or our bodies have had bad relationships with food. And when we think of those things, we remember that we let, almost like a relationship, you let them into a more intimate part of space in your life. And now this is the result. You feel terrible. You feel betrayed by this food. You're like,
comparison.
Yeah. You're like, man, how could you treat me like this? So it's the same concept. You did me wrong, chips. But I think so. Health and wellness, if we get rid of the diet stigma and just say, what does this make me feel like? I gotta respect this body. I gotta have honor and respect. Yes. And then at times we might have to get someone like yourself as a health and wellness coach to help walk people through, to help people cross together, because that's what Bridge Crossing Solutions is. And this podcast is, we're dedicated to the ministry or the serving of mental health, but mental health is not necessarily mental illness. Mental health is a greater capacity or improvement to express yourself in a whole manner mentally. So it's not just, it's just about building up your mind.
Yep.
And
your coping skills, your mechanism, just as a whole, improving yourself to be a better, finding better ways to move through life.
Yes, because a better perspective, the tendency is to help us to do better. So if you got a different or better perspective on something, hopefully our behaviors begin to follow that perspective.
Yeah.
So that's why I like your approach. I like that, man. You really have some powerful things. Your culture, and how to honor your culture, then also respect your body. Like it's a bunch of little things going on here, like different, like body, culture, uncles, the store chip of cup. I mean, it's a lot of little. I can say a lot because I don't make it sound overwhelming, but it's things you have to take charge of. Like you have to, like you said, you got to really, I got to make some changes.
You got to listen to your body, listen to your
body.
And it is a lot of small factors. But this isn't something that, tomorrow you're like, you know what, I'm done with the diets. I'm good with my body. It doesn't happen like that. It's things that go little by little. And sometimes you do need a little help. It's fine if you want to work with a trainer. It's fine if you want to work with a mental health professional. It's just, those are the things that are going to get you to your next step little by little. And small changes make for the big change.
Yes. So yeah, that was good. It's very helpful. We definitely got to have you come back because I really want to go to some other areas on this topic that I think you'll be good at in talking about it, because I think your story and your pursuit of what you're doing is a needed conversation, that type of education. And I think people can really relate to it because diets fail, but a change or altered lifestyle or perspective can really be lasting.
Mm-hmm.
It has more lasting, and you kind of understand there's going to be some highs, and like you ride it out rather than false starts. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to, then next thing you know, you're like, then the guilt comes here. Yeah. Then then your body says you're guilty. Why don't you eat? Why don't you just go ahead and do it? So now you know, that's hard. That's a hard life, man.
Yes.
You know, then you got to go to work on top of that. You got reports to do, and you got
and social factors and everything that comes around, and maybe people telling you, oh, you got to lose weight, or oh, you got to look like that. So all of those are stressful factors that come into play. And at the end, they end up making you feel like you're not doing what you need to be doing, or that you're failing, or that you're not successful at dieting. Isn't that insane that that people will come to you and tell you you don't have the willpower, you didn't do it better, you could have done, you needed to stop doing this, or you needed to stop doing that. And it's like there's so many factors that come into play that we can't target the people and be mad at them, because we're pushing all this diet stuff down their throats pretty much. We can't get mad at them if they're not able to follow it, because it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming, and there's so many factors that come into health overall. It's the mental health, it's the physical health, it's the spiritual health, it's all of it combined. So when people say you're not healthy because you're not following a diet and you don't look slim, I honestly, and I'm not sure if that's the right thing to say here, but it's just like, all right, you do you. I don't have the time for you. Yeah. Because there's so many other factors that come into play. And if you're being able to balance all the other things going on in your life, some people have children, some people have ill parents that they need to take care of. Those are all things that we need to consider before we tell somebody, like, follow the diet and go and move your body and do some exercise, because there's so many other things that come into play that, it's almost disrespectful to tell people, you're not doing the best that you can.
Right. So I think I want to, when we come back for part 2 or 3, this is a good foundation, and I want to really promote it on a larger scale, because I want you to talk about really your process of, it's like your process, you went from social work, but still having probably, I want to change things. I want to think about health and wealth. Then you went from a undergrad in social work, which is helping people, going around, helping people, case management. But then you transitioned to, to a different.
To my true passion.
Right. Yeah. So,
yes.
That's to me, that's interesting. And that can really help people to understand. I don't know. Can you kind of see where I'm going and help people understand? Yeah. Look, this is how hey, I thought I was this way, but it took time to start figuring out, you know what? I think I'm gonna do this. And you get supports, and your husband pushing you, and you got people behind you, because the transition into greater health and wellness takes efforts from supports around you, because everything is pulling at you. And so I wanted people to see maybe your agony of deciding and trying to, I want to help people, because sometimes the guilt people, when you're trying to help people, what happens in our heads is, how you going to help people when you're not?
Yeah.
How you going to change? And we fight. Oh yeah. Thank you, Laverne. She said true passion. I love that. So people, and actually she's going to be our next guest.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. She's going to be our next guest. But it's a struggle. So we want to be honest. Like, it's not easy.
No, definitely.
It's not easy being you a young woman and to try to think on a bigger picture about yourself. That's not easy. So I want people to hear the struggle and the thoughts, and maybe some of your personal ups and downs, but you're still here. You're looking good. Your health, you're smiling. You're always upbeat. And I know you have highs and lows. So I want people to hear from you on the next broadcast. Those type of, it's not easy. We're not talking about overnight, but we're talking about changes that hurt. But we can get there and be passionate, because once you become passionate, it kind of can drive you. Like, man, I'm passionate, and it kind of helps override stuff when you get it in you.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, and I always say this, I'm very big on honoring your experience, honoring how you feel and your emotions. And for me, this story has taken me to this point right now where I'm like, you know what? I needed to listen to myself. I needed to listen to what I felt, my past experience, and that's what's leading me or taking me to become a health and wellness professional.
That's good. That's good stuff. That's good. I'm really excited about it because, I remember, with myself, I know the things I shouldn't eat, and immediately my body remembers. But then you always get that one little, well, that was last time. But then you really look at it, you start developing a history. Hey, honor yourself. Honor your mood. Honor the mood that this is making you feel like.
And just on that note, and then this might help other people. Whenever you're thinking I shouldn't have that, whenever you're thinking of restricting, think of adding instead. So if you know that maybe you ate a little bit too much, I don't know, let's say you're diabetic and you eat too much carbs, you shouldn't. Add more vegetables. Don't take the carbs out, because carbs are so healthy for you. You still need carbs, but add more vegetables, and that way you're still eating the carbs, but you're not eating as much. You're still feeling fulfilled, or you're still, satisfying your tummy. So that's just like a general thing maybe to think about.
Okay. Well, this has been great. I think your passion and your motivation to help people is I think it's been evident today and clear that you are passionate about helping people grow in a holistic manner, spiritually, because you're aware of that, how that impacts you mentally, physically, socially, economically.
Yes.
I thank you for just being, an influence in this field. And as people watch this, I hope they can reach out to you, or will reach out to you for some encouragement. And if they want to get your information, those that are watching, you can contact me on the page or DM, and I'll be able to get you in touch with Miss Hernandez. She is as you see her smiling, she's always like that. We talk throughout the day. We have what is called our check-ins.
Yes.
We kind of have, and you know what? And venting is part of mental health and wellness. Venting, we vent, we complain sometimes. We have something going on. We like just kind of let it loose, and we like, all right, I'm back. I just needed to. Yes. All that is part of health and wellness. So I want to thank you. Thank you once again for this. We're going to have you back soon. We want to do a part 2 and part 3, because I think during this pandemic, people need to understand this health and wellness, and you don't have to feel guilty. You don't have to make false vows. You don't have to, it's just, how do we do it? And sometimes it's just how. Yeah. It's not that we can't. We just don't have the strategy. And I think you're going to provide. Someone just said venting helps.
Yes, definitely.
So I think we're going to get more into the solutions and the strategies and some of your personal stories. That might take 2 more, but I want people to hear it from a person that's real about it.
Yeah.
That's real about, okay, look, we gotta, and this pandemic has kind of been a lot on people mentally and physically, and just, we gotta, how do we escape or find some sense of normalcy or comfort within all of this discomfort?
Yes.
So we're going to close out. And do you want to have some last parting words? Say anything to anybody, or?
I just want to say thank you for having me. I always appreciate our chats, our conversations. Thank you for giving me the platform to talk about this. I'm super excited to be here. I'm hoping to be here again. And I just want to say thank you. I appreciate the time and the space.
Okay, well, thank you. We're definitely going to have you in. Want to thank everybody for tuning in to Let's Cross Together. We're dedicated to the ministry of mental health. And again, we want to thank Coach Esther Hernandez for her input and just sharing some of her story. And we're looking forward to having her again. So share this video as you share it, and the content that was discussed can help change other lives. If it changed your life, it can help change others. So we'll tune in to see you again next week. Well, Let's Cross Together with yours truly, the mental health coach. Talk to you all soon. Thank you.